Everybody. It is Marcia and Michelle, and we are back for another session or segment. I guess.
Segment. Oh, we'll sound official.
Episode. Ooh, listen, another episode of Random Thoughts and Ghostly. No,
Yeah, and random thoughts.
Okay. Let's try it again. We're back for Ghostly Gab and Random Thoughts.
All right, we know how tonight's going to go, people. We ready?
Yes.
We ready?
Yes. It's been a tough one. It's been a tough one already. I just want to say welcome to those of you that have joined us this evening. We know there are so many things that you could do on a Friday night besides hang out with us. We do appreciate it. If you think you have some friends or family that might be interested in what we're talking about tonight, please share us out. We appreciate it. Our topic this evening is going to be shadow figures, dark masses, whatever else.
Shadow people,
whatever else we're talking about. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that stuff here just in a minute. I want to say thank you to our military. Without you, we couldn't be here doing what we're doing tonight. So from the bottom of our hearts to you, thank you. We think about you often.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I have a couple of things I want to talk about that are like completely irrelevant. Well, not really irrelevant, but
random thoughts.
It's a random thought, but that'll tell you why we might be a little off kilter.
More than normal.
More than normal. So we're sitting at my kitchen table, right? And you all know my house is haunted. Okay. I see shadow figures all the time. We hear voices all the time. It's just that's the house we live in. So Michelle and I are sitting there, and we're
both of us.
Yeah, we're kind of animated, kind of a little loud.
Yeah, it's the first time we've been together in a while.
Yeah, and we heard this woman speak. Now I don't know what she said, but boy, it was loud, wasn't it?
It's like, oh, sorry, we're being too loud.
Yeah. So then, a little while later, I'm talking to Michelle, and I'm telling her about some messages that I've received, right? And then we hear this woman speak again.
New message.
Yeah, that's what she said. New message.
It's really weird. And I was like, oh, this is tripping me up.
It's like, oh, goodness. And
I'm looking, is it Siri? Is it Alexis? Is it somebody else?
Yeah, it was crazy. Come to find out, Chucky left his cell phone downstairs, and it speaks.
Yes.
Who knew?
We do now.
Yes, we do.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, we were. It's like, oh, man, I've never heard that woman speak before.
And she was loud.
Yeah, she was. I want to say hello to Linda and Rod and Bev. I see you guys on. Thanks for hanging with us this evening. I know there are more of you on. I just can't see you unless you make a comment. So hello, and thanks for joining us. I did want to mention a little bit about the Haunted America Conference before we get started, because I don't know how many of you have been there. Troy has been doing this since '97. I've gone all but about 3 years, I think. It is a fabulous conference. If you ever get an opportunity to go, it's held in Alton, Illinois every year, except last year they did it virtually because of the whole COVID thing. And they did it in July this year because he pushed it back a little bit, hoping that COVID and the Delta variant and everything would be under control, but it was out of control. Next year it's going to be back in June because it's usually the last weekend in June. But I just want to tell you, they had some really, really good speakers. One of them was about dreams. They had a workshop about dreaming.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I took that. That was pretty cool.
I never remember dreams. I know you got a dream when you're dead. At least that's my understanding. That's how I got it mentally in my head.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Here we go. Hello.
Something just popped up.
And
you dream or you're dead?
Yeah, it's like it's your mind. I don't know. This is in my brain. I'm weird.
I don't know about that.
But I don't ever remember my dreams, or very rarely do I remember my dreams.
I remember mine all the time.
I had a dream about a bunch of the folks that I went to high school with.
Never
the other
good.
Day.
Never good.
Yeah,
never.
That's
good.
all I remember.
Yeah. Never good. Dreaming about high school is never good.
Oh, it wasn't high school. It was just those people.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing, except for Rod and Denver and
yeah.
Bev.
I
don't want to dream about any of my other high school friends. I don't know about you guys. But there was a workshop on dreaming, which I attended. There was one on the Dybbuk box. The guy that owned the Dybbuk box, right? I don't know how many of you guys know the story, but he's the guy in Kirksville, right? Missouri, that actually ended up with the Divot box. He's a professor up there at Truman University. He is the one that sold it to Zach Bagans for the.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes, yes.
I knew
And
Zach had one.
Zach had one, and I can tell you that he paid 15 grand for it. I'm just going to say that's what the guy said. And the only reason he wasn't a fan of Zach's, but the only reason he sold it was he wanted people to be able to see it. And he couldn't let people into his home to see it.
Right.
So he sold it to Zach. He had it for 12 years.
Wow.
And then he sold it to Zach. Now, he says that it isn't necessarily haunted. The box isn't, but something strange is going on with the box.
So he never opened it.
Yeah, he opened it.
Oh, he did.
And let me tell you something else that you guys might not know that he shared with us. And this might be a secret. Maybe I shouldn't share it, but I'm going to tell you. He said when he bought the box, it had a lock, hasp and a lock on the front of it, because it's a wine box is what it is. And it had a little hasp on the front of it, and he actually had to break that off in order to get into it. And it left two little holes in the wood. And the one that you see sometimes on display
Doesn't have it.
doesn't have the two little holes. Just saying.
Well, and that's funny because they were talking about how that Zach has changed up his museum and the way people can go through it now because of COVID. It's very limited. Apparently, he's got weird stuff in warehouses all over the place.
Yes, he does.
So, anyways,
It's got weird stuff. But anyway,
he's weird.
the guy on the told the story of the Divot box. That was pretty cool. Then Tobias Whalen, who runs the Fortean Society, they study the winged cryptids like Mothman and the Chicago Mothman and whatever. He spoke. Very, very interesting man. And then Sarah Sutherland, who is known as Paranormal Sarah. I don't know how many of you know her. She talked about the dark side of paranormal. She is a forensic, I don't want to say parapsychologist because that's not right, but she deals in forensic mental health with the criminally insane. I forget what she called it. But she was talking about how people that are psychopaths sometimes have the same experiences that we ghost hunters have with hearing voices, seeing things, and having something make us do things. So that was pretty interesting. But anyway, that's the Haunted America Conference. It's going to be June of next year, like it always has been, except for this year. So if you have an opportunity to travel to Alton, Missouri, it's right out, or Alton, Illinois, it's right outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Show up there. Okay, so that's all I think I wanted to say, right? Yes, let me take a look at my notes.
I don't know. I'm trying to look her up to get her official title.
Yeah, she goes by Paranormal Sarah. Okay, let's talk dark shadows, black masses, things of that
Shadow
nature.
people.
Shadow people. What do you think they are?
Well, working in the realm of parapsychology. Well,
yes, we've established well.
That's a deep subject.
We've established well.
Well, no, in all seriousness, I think for the longest time, before photography was as technologically advanced as it is now, I think people may have seen them more because they see it out of the peripheral. They may not believe it. You know, there's just something I'm imagination. Some people think they're ghosts. Even time travelers. I've heard that. But until in the last year or so, we were actually having this discussion offline about how we're capturing more on video now and seeing more, kind of validating that they're not the floaties in the eyes. They're not the peripheral vision. They're not just our imaginations.
They're real.
Yeah.
They're real. And this topic was actually suggested by one of our followers. Yeah. And it's very timely because this year we have seen more dark shadows and captured more on video
Oh my gosh, yeah.
than I had in 42 years of doing this. Prior to it, it's been this year, right? It wasn't last year. I get my times confused. But I had only caught one shadow figure or black mass or whatever you want to call it on video, and I had only seen one in person until we went to Edinburgh last May, I guess a year ago.
Yeah.
Is a year ago. And since then, we've seen 3 or 4 or 5 and caught them on video.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
It's like almost unheard of.
Yeah. So it's like, what is going on here with all of these things?
Well, and just to clarify too, that, when these do happen as part of our process, we go through, make sure there's nothing wrong with the cameras. We take other photos. We do a lot of other things to try to discount them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of gets to that point of,
can't explain this one.
Yep.
Can't explain this. But Bev, I think you're on to something there with, I think they're letting us, and this goes with the entire paranormal realm, I think, they're letting us see them more because everything is shifting.
Well, we did.
Everything is shifting.
This year we went to the what is it, the year of Aquarius or the
Age of Aquarius?
Age of Aquarius, sorry.
Yeah.
And so that shifted things and I don't know.
Things are different. Things
Yes.
are different. But now I will tell you that these things have existed for centuries.
Millennia.
Yes. And the Quran, the Islamic Quran, I guess, or Muslim Quran, however you want to say that. And I apologize for any of you Muslims out there. I'm not saying that right. But they talk a lot about these shadow figures and these black masses. They call them jinns. And it's spelled D as in dog, Jinn, but it's pronounced jinn. And Mary Ellen Guiley, who I knew from the Haunted America Conference, she studied these things extensively. If anybody knew anything about them, it was Rosemary. And she died 2 years ago, but her website, which is Visionary Living, is still up. Her husband still has that site up because she wrote a ton of books, and they are still, you're still able to get her books. And she wrote several on the jinn, and she talked about how they're believed to be an independent nation that actually exists in a parallel dimension to ours.
And we've discussed dimensions before. So.
Yeah, we've discussed dimensions before. And Rosemary's thing, and sometimes when Rosemary would say these things, I would think to myself, this woman is off her rocker. But the more she spoke and the more she explained it, it's like, you know what?
Maybe
that might be an explanation, maybe. But her thought was that they're a separate nation. They're parallel to us, and they can be either good or bad. It's not because they're dark. Everyone naturally assumes that it's evil, it's demonic, whatever. But they are just like regular ghosts, and just like us, they can be good or they can be bad, and we can call upon them to help us because on the hierarchy of things, we outrank them, if that makes sense. Yeah, that was her thought about it. They don't follow any of the laws of physics as far as time, weight, space, matter. They don't follow any of that. They can teleport from here to there. They're just not bounded by all the constraints that we have. Many Native American cultures also have in their folklore lots of things about shadow people and black masses and things of that nature, and particularly the Choctaw. They felt they were all negative and evil.
Yeah, the Jinn I had always heard referred to as negative as well, but I have never researched them.
Yeah, and I think, and like I said, I think it's because they're black. I think that's our natural instinct is, okay, you've got white, white is positive and good, and you've got black, which is evil and demonic.
Darkness is the lack of light.
Darkness is the lack of light. Yeah. Let's see what else, because I made a few notes because I didn't want to forget to tell you all something because, I've been having a day. Most people, when they encounter these things, either feel uncomfortable or they're terrified. Not always, though. Not always. And I'd like to share with you a couple of instances that have happened to us. One, Linda actually took the picture in the basement of Madison Seminary. And Linda, I don't remember who all was with you. I think it was Kayla was with you and Becky, I think. But you all did not, you didn't realize you caught it initially, but you didn't complain of feeling uneasy or any of that, because it was around, and it was very definitely around. The same way at Edinburgh, when Becky and I actually caught it on video, which you can see out on our YouTube channel. I'm actually literally watching it manifest in the doorway, and it didn't scare me. And it was very, very dark. It was more like, what is it I'm seeing? Am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? Because I'm literally seeing this big black mass.
Your mind is trying to identify what it is.
It's trying to identify what I'm seeing and say.
Well, even the snippet you just released with me and Wendy.
With you and Wendy. You had no idea.
Had no idea. I just knew I didn't want my back to that doorway.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Michelle just kept saying, I don't want my back to the doorway. So you must have felt something, really, some kind of an unease.
Yeah, because I made that comment of, I'm going to stand here by this wall.
Yeah. Now, even though they've been around for centuries in all this folklore and, in all these religious writings, it's only been, I'm going to say fairly recently, that they've come into being more popular, I guess, or maybe we're talking about them more.
I think the culture has shifted.
Yes. Yeah. We're more open to talking about the taboo things. But I think a big reason that they came, that we talk about them more, is I don't know how many of you listen to Coast Radio. They talk about a lot of paranormal stuff in the middle of the night.
The best time.
Yeah. And in 2001, I want to say, they had a Native American elder on the station, and he was talking about these things in Native American culture. And then this gal, Heidi Hollis wrote a book about it like the following year. And from that point on, it seemed like it was more acceptable to talk about it, and people were asking questions about it and what are they, and then everybody was seeing them. And this Native American elder that was on Coast to Coast, he asked for people, if people had ever seen them, to draw a picture and send them into him. And he got tons and tons and tons of pictures.
Oh, wow.
Because people all across the country were seeing these things, but they weren't talking about it. They weren't talking about it,
Yes, because you don't want to be the crazy one seeing things.
Yes. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I think when we talk about automatically going to dark and negative because, it's black, and I think this is a modern concept. I don't know, but we think of ghosts as being misty white forms.
Okay.
Or at least I do. I don't know how many of you do too, but
that could just be because of the original photography was black and white.
Yeah, and I don't know, because that's like our perception is that it's white and flowing.
Look at the little guy over my shoulder.
And that's and they're ghosts, and that anything that is black is always negative.
Well, I always tell you, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of what's in the dark.
Yeah, but there's bats in the dark, which I don't have
That's in the dark.
I know. I don't have my preserved bat that Troy gave us.
Oh, damn.
Chuck's making a box for it so we can hang it in the Boomobile.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I think a lot of the negativity surrounding black mass, and I could be completely wrong, guys. I could be completely wrong. But I think a lot of the negativity and the fear is because of the perception we have that ghosts are, white and of light and whatever.
Well, even if you look at movies, look at Star Wars. Luke Skywalker wore white in the original and Darth Vader was in black, good and bad. That perception there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that are always around, even if we don't necessarily realize that's how we're categorizing them.
Yes. Now, black mass and shadow figures in the paranormal world sometimes are like orbs. People either believe them or they don't believe them. Now, typically you see them out of your peripheral vision, and I do that a lot. I see it a lot that way, and you have to realize that your peripheral vision is to detect movement, not detail. So a lot of people, when they see it, they can't tell you what it is because they see the movement.
Yeah.
It's not like it's coming straight at you. So you need to kind of keep that in mind. But I see black shadows all the time here in my home. They don't scare me. I mean, to me, it's the color that I can see.
Right.
They're manifesting in a color I can see. I don't know. Now, when they debate whether these things are real or not, the scientific world and the naysayers say that it's due to sleep paralysis. Now, I can tell you, folks, I'm not asleep when I'm walking down the hallway. You know what I mean when I see it? I'm not asleep.
That's two different things.
Yeah, I've never suffered from sleep paralysis, but apparently a lot of people that suffer sleep paralysis see these dark figures. Well, is it really sleep paralysis, or do they have some kind of an entity holding them down?
Yeah, because now sleep paralysis I've always heard associated with something negative and something else happening with them, or they're seeing something else happen, but not necessarily a shadow figure.
Yep.
And I think the term figure is another part of the perception, because I think mass is better just because they're not necessarily well defined. And that's part of that peripheral kind of, you saw something, but not necessarily know what it is. So it was just that quick, could have been a bird, could have been a bat.
Yes.
It's just, you just don't realize it. And that's where having the camera set up is really good.
Yes. Now, I saw an actual shadow person at Trans-Allegheny because he was, and it was a man. I couldn't see any features, but it's like you're standing there. I could see the ambient light. He was dark. I thought it was the fellow that was with us.
Because the trench coat.
Yeah, because he had on because it's cold. He had on that long calf length jacket, and I could clearly see it. But the other things that I have seen, he's the only one that's been defined. Everything else that I have ever seen has been, like you say, like a mass or something like that. What about you guys? Have you guys ever seen any of this? I know some of you that have traveled with us have seen them for sure.
Right.
But yeah. So anyway, the other thing too is they say that if you have a heightened sense of awareness or emotion, not awareness, but emotion, that sometimes
like, how are you seeing them?
Because we all know I don't have any sense of, so awareness is not my forte. But heightened sense of emotion, that your emotions can run away with you and cause you to see these black masses, especially if you're in a dark, creepy building and you're expecting something to happen.
Yeah, the scene is set.
Well, sure. And I can buy that to a point, but I know from my own experience, it's not holding water. And
well, when you've been doing it for 42 years.
10 years, only 10.
They're even laughing in the other room.
Yeah, they're here. Yeah, they're laughing. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. And then meth addicts, of which I am not one, but they see black shadows also. That's, I guess, one of the,
Isn't that the psychosis?
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know enough about meth. I'm sorry.
I don't either. We should, because we live in like the meth capital of Missouri, but yeah, no. So anyway,
Lovely claim to fame.
That's what we know about dark shadows. Now, we have seen several. It started at Edinburgh, and we caught that one twice.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. I guess actually it was 3 times, because Bev and Becky saw it too. But we caught it on video at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So it was daylight.
Oh, that's right.
The first time. And then about 7:30 at night, Becky and I were in the basement, and that's when I literally saw it forming, and we caught that on video. And then later in the evening, that didn't unnerve me, but there was something in the basement that made me uncomfortable. So I didn't want to go back down in the basement. So Becky and Bev went down there, and then they saw it about 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. So we saw it Edinburgh 3 different times.
In the same trip?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, our first trip to Edinburgh, we didn't see it.
Yeah.
And the basement didn't unnerve me. It wasn't creepy. It was just, that's where they had their kitchen and their dining room and whatever. It was fine. But the second time when we went to Edinburgh, I mean, the minute I walked down the stairs, it's like, ooh, I do not want to be down here, because something doesn't want me down here. But yeah, we saw it 3 times on that trip. Linda caught it in a photograph at Madison Seminary. We caught it on video again at Westwood School with you guys.
Yep.
And then there's another one I'm forgetting. And then it was at Bryan Jail. That's when I had the God helmet on.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't catch it on video, but I'm telling you, folks, it was there. We did catch it in a picture, in a photograph later that day. So like I said, we've seen more darkness the last year and a half than I've seen all the years I've been hunting. And I don't know why, unless, like Bev says, it's because they're making themselves known more. The veil maybe is getting thinner. I don't know. Thoughts?
Really, I'm going back to technology. And I think also the energy, because, you did a lot more, the group did a lot more hunting in this last year and a half too. And so it was almost like each time we went, it was building up more energy, and maybe it helped attract it in. Because it was hard and heavy for the last year and a half. If you think about it, there was a lot of places, a lot of energy, and,
True. And I'll tell you, we don't know what other teams are bringing in here either. And that was my thought about Edinburgh, because it was so very, very different. The 2 times that we went, the first time it was not scary. It was, it didn't make you uncomfortable. The second time it definitely did. And I think some of these other teams are doing Ouija boards or seances or something, and they're bringing some of this stuff in.
And again, it may not even be any type of ritualistic. It could be their energy as well. It's just, I have to go back to the energy, because, I mean, even take the paranormal out of it. You surround yourself with good energy is going to be with you. Negative energy, negative is going to be with you. So, I mean, even that's just every day. You throw the paranormal in there, and now you've got different dimensional beings maybe, or different levels of energy, different planes. So
I can agree with that. Linda's got COVID opening the awareness. I think this last year, this, what I'm going to call the COVID year, I think there were a lot of shifts in universe. I think there was a lot of shift in the collective consciousness of all of us because we realized what was really important. I think, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe. Or it could be that COVID kept a lot of people home, and so there was not as much conflicting energy in places.
Possibly. That's why we keep Michelle around, because she comes up with these little nuggets every once in a while. But yeah, and then I've got a friend who is actually a tour guide at the Missouri State Penitentiary, and she has got tons and tons and tons of stories about shadow figures and things of that nature. And quite frankly, I've been a little busy the last couple of weeks, and I did not have an opportunity to call her to ask her to join us to go over some of her experiences there at the prison. But I don't have any desire to hunt the prison. And I think it's because I'm a state worker, and that's a state facility. And like, we knew people there when it was open. So it's like, oh, yeah. It's just one of our buildings closed down.
Well, and it's, that's where they have some of the cars we go, borrow. And
yeah.
So, we see it all the time.
We see it all the time. Yeah. So I don't have any interest in hunting it. I was going to, but it's very, very expensive for a private hunt.
It really is compared to some of the others.
It's like $1,000.
Ooh,
it's like $1,000. Yeah. So anyway,
you know what we did not do tonight? Unless you took care of it.
What?
Lightning round?
Oh yes, you will be on the hot seat of the lightning round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of not getting out? No, we start out.
It's just different, I guess, because we're just used to seeing the building.
It's a cool building.
It's a cool building, and we're there all the time. Every time we need a state car, I mean, our cars are parked right next to the gas chamber.
Yeah.
So
actually, there's been times where I've gone to pick up a car and they're doing a tour.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm just here to get a car.
Don't mind me.
So, hey Beth, glad that you could join us. Yeah, so that's what we know about shadow figures. It could be, like Beth says, maybe it's stress or it's negative energy, like you said, that manifests these things. Or it could be
our imaginations. No, I'm just kidding.
It could be our imaginations. If you're on meth, that's what they say. But like Rosemary said, the jinn, they're shapeshifters. They may show themselves as a dark shadow. Next time they may show themselves as Clyde. They're shapeshifters.
For those of you that are not aware, Clyde is a dog.
Yeah, Clyde's my dog.
So. Not her imaginary friend or the ghost behind me.
No,
I'm having issues with him peeking out from behind me every now and again.
He's peeking. So, but anyway, that's kind of all we know about shadow figures. We have experienced them.
Mm-hmm. Unknowingly experienced them.
Yes, and knowingly.
Yes.
We've been afraid of them, and we've not been afraid of them.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know what that's worth to you.
Meh.
Apparently it can go either way. I don't know. So,
it's just kind of like everything else.
Yeah, it can go either way. So we're going to go ahead and share out our social media for you guys. I'm going to ask Michelle to pull that up.
I can do it.
Because remember, you can find us everywhere. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Library and MeWe as Midwest Ghost Hunters. Of course, Facebook, Just Say Boo. JustSayBoo.com is our website. And I have been adding some new stuff to the website because, we've been so busy hunting and reviewing all this evidence that it had been like 6 months since I'd updated the website.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm putting, I'm back on my schedule. And we have posted a couple of new YouTube videos. You can go out there and take a peek at that.
Spooky snippets.
Yeah, little spooky snippets. What a surprise to Wendy and Michelle.
Yeah, I was like, oh, looky there.
Yeah. So we can flip back, if you will.
I can do that.
Is there anything that you all would like to know? Any questions you have while we're getting ready to wrap this up here? Because I do want to tell you about some things that we've got coming up. Michelle and I are leaving Saturday, not tomorrow, but a week from Saturday, We are going to take a road trip, a haunted road trip through Michigan. We don't know where yet
Who knows?
because, we keep saying we need to get together and iron this out, but we've been so busy at work.
Oh yeah.
Lots of things happening. But we're going to visit some haunted places. We're not necessarily going to do any hunting. We're just going to see what these places are, see if we can find some history about them, see if any of the locals know anything, any spooky stories. We have been invited to go back to the 6th Precinct. Ed Steele, the guy that owns it, he said if we come up through Detroit, please stop. He'd like to show us what he's been doing up there.
Very cool.
Yeah, and of course that's where Wendy and Kayla is also, and we could probably bum a pizza or something off of them because they took us to this fabulous pizza place wherever we were in Detroit. I don't know.
It's like they took you. I was on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
We invited you though.
You
We
did.
invited
You did. It's only like 8 hours.
Yeah, they didn't want to do an 8-hour road trip for a pizza. I don't get it. And then we are planning to go back to Edinburgh and the Granger House. I'd like to try to do that fairly quickly because I did see the owners of the Granger House when I was at the Haunted America conference.
Oh, did you? Good.
Yeah, and it was hit by a derecho right after we were there last year. And they do have a temporary roof put on. They don't have the permanent roof on, but they've got a temporary roof on. It's not open for tours yet, but they invited us to come in and, look around. Let's see if that experience to the house caused the energy to shift at all.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting to see that. And the other thing too, I met the owners of the Brumley Haunted Castle here in Missouri. That's not too far from us.
Have they made it into a bed and breakfast?
No, they're new owners.
Oh.
Brand spanking new owners. Yes. Steve and Judy bought it, and they live in Arkansas, and they've invited us to come out and take a peek. And I'm like, okay. I did not want to go before because, quite frankly, I didn't think the story added up. And Steve and Judy were saying that maybe some of the previous history might have been embellished just a bit.
What?
I know.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. But they're very interested in getting the true story and, what really has happened in the house and that kind of thing. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we'll be going out there. That will be a last minute trip because they come up from Arkansas. And I told them, we're so close. We don't need to make arrangements. They can call us and,
More often than not.
Give us a couple of days notice. We can probably roll on in there. So they're going to do that. So we'll be hitting that house.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's all I've got coming up for this year. My leg is healed. I was released from the doctor today after a year. There will be no more running ever in my life, ever. Yeah. So, and I think that's it. That's all that's coming up. That's all we're doing. Everything is good
until you tell me differently.
All right. And Beth, you may be able to go to the Brumley house with us because you're close enough to do that. Let's see. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. No questions came through. All right.
No questions came through.
So we're going to get ready to do the lightning round. So get your fingers ready, folks. Here it comes. You ready?
Yep.
All right. You guys ready?
It's been a minute. Oh,
I know. Remember, it's a semi-lightning round. Sometimes we do have to ponder it.
We hope for that rolling thunder for a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, let me think that one through. Okay. Would you rather use a fork and no spoon or a spoon and no fork?
Forever?
Forever.
Spoon.
Yeah. See, that's one of those not so lightning round questions. Okay. Would you rather have unlimited battery power in your phone where you never had to charge it?
Okay.
Or Wi-Fi everywhere you went?
Battery.
Okay. If you had a boat, what would you name it?
If I had a boat, what would I name it? Yeah, this is going to be a slow drizzle at the moment. my gosh, I don't know.
Mhm.
I've never thought about a boat. My husband has a boat.
Does it have a name?
No, as far as I know,
They couldn't think of a name for it.
I'm not sure it's one we can say on this video. Money Pit? I don't know. Money Pit.
Oh, very original. Okay, so I'm going to switch this around because I want to answer this last one with you too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, beach house or cabin in the woods?
Ooh.
Keep in mind, folks, she lives in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, I was like beach house. I was like, I have to think, do I want the spouse with me or not? Because he'd rather have the cabin in the woods.
Okay. Now, we've all got this, so I want you guys to answer this. What ridiculous thing has someone tricked you into doing or believing?
Oh my.
And while you're thinking about that, I have one.
Well,
Okay,
go ahead.
So, I live in the middle of farm country, right? We've got cows everywhere around us. And on one of my previous jobs, I made the comment to one of the fellows that had a farm, because we don't have a farm. We just have acreage. We don't have anything on it but the dogs. And I made the comment that every time I saw a storm coming, that the cows were laying down. Why is that? And he said to me, because a storm is coming. They'll get low to the ground, right? Made perfect sense to me. And I repeated that multiple times to people. That is not why cows lay down, folks. That is not why. No, cows lay down because they're digesting their food.
Yes, because they have 4 stomachs. Okay, so
I'm
repeat
just saying.
your question. Repeat your question.
What ridiculous thing did somebody trick you into doing or believing? And I believed him. I believed the cows laid down because of the storm.
So, okay, now I'm going to say this only because at the time I was younger than 9 years old, because I was still living in Massachusetts. And there was a neighbor wherever we were that had a cow. He told us, don't let the cow lick you because he'll lick your skin off. And for the longest time, I believed him, because at the time I grew up in the city. I didn't know any better. I know better now. He just didn't want us messing with his cows. So yeah, so them licking you would take your skin off.
Why? It's not why. Yeah, that's a ridiculous thing.
But I was before 9 years old, because I moved to Texas when I was 9.
Guys, I was not 9 when I fell for the cow story. I'm just going to tell you, I was not 9. And yeah.
No cow tipping.
Yeah, no.
Although seeing a drunk horse is quite humorous, just saying.
Yeah, but we do not tip cows around here, because farmers take their cows very seriously. Do not tip a cow.
Oh yeah, they paint like fluorescent orange X's on them so people don't shoot them during deer season.
Yeah, they take it seriously. And just one more thing that I want to say about dark shadows. I want to ask you guys. So it's said and believed that orbs are rarely seen around shadow figures. When you photograph one, you never photograph an orb around it. True or false? I mean, I've never seen one like that. Have you guys ever seen one?
No, but if you remember the rest of the little snippet,
one came out of which you guys, I didn't
you guys don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, one came out 2 minutes later.
Yeah. So it wasn't with it.
It wasn't with it. And so because they're always alone, that gives more credence to the fact that they might be interdimensional. Don't you think?
Or the dimensions are bumping. And that's where we get Sasquatch.
So I'm going to leave you with that thought. So thank you guys.
Make you go,
So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on a Friday night. We know there's so many other things that you can do, and we really, really do appreciate it. So hey, Michelle and I will check in on the road on our Michigan trip.
Yes. Because we have no idea where we're going, so we can't even share that.
Yeah, we don't know. We may work our way into Detroit, but maybe not. So, but anyway, we will check in from the road. We'll be gone for a week, about 7 or 8 days. And that's it. So Until next time, just say boo.